In 1895, a fire destroyed Nikola Tesla's laboratory in New York and erased years of experimental work in a single night. For Tesla, the laboratory was more than a workplace. It was where he tested ideas about electricity that few people fully understood at the time. Inside that building were experimental devices, research notes, and prototypes connected to some of the most advanced electrical experiments of the late 19th century. When the fire swept through the building, much of that work disappeared. The event became one of the most dramatic setbacks in Tesla's career, and it changed the direction of his research in ways that still interest historians and engineers today. At the time, Tesla's laboratory was located on South Fifth Avenue in Manhattan. The space functioned as both a research center and a demonstration area where Tesla developed and tested electrical equipment. During this period, Tesla was studying high-frequency electrical systems and experimenting with powerful coils and oscillators designed to generate high-voltage currents. These experiments were part of his broader effort to understand how electricity behaved under extreme conditions. Inside the laboratory, Tesla had built specialized equipment to study resonance, wireless transmission of electrical signals, and the behavior of electromagnetic fields. Many of these experiments required large coils, transformers, and carefully designed circuits. The laboratory also contained detailed notebooks documenting Tesla's observations and experimental results. These records were essential for tracking how his devices performed and how he planned to improve them. On the night of March 13, 1895, a fire broke out in the building. Historical records suggest that the fire started elsewhere in the structure and quickly spread through the floors. Tesla's laboratory was located on an upper level, and the flames moved rapidly through the building before firefighters could fully contain them. By the time the fire was extinguished, Tesla's entire laboratory had been destroyed. In addition to the physical equipment, Tesla lost many experimental prototypes and research notes. Some of the devices lost in the fire were connected to ongoing experiments with high-frequency electricity and resonant transformers. These experiments were part of Tesla's work on what would later become known as Tesla coils. The loss of his laboratory created a major obstacle. Tesla suddenly found himself without the tools, equipment, or records he had spent years developing. Rebuilding the research environment required time, funding, and new facilities. Despite the setback, Tesla did not abandon his work. Within months, he began rebuilding his laboratory and reconstructing many of the experiments that had been destroyed. This effort required not only recreating physical equipment but also rethinking parts of his experimental process. Without the original notes, Tesla often had to rely on memory and earlier documentation to continue his research. One of the most important areas Tesla resumed after the fire involved high-frequency electrical currents and resonant transformers. These devices allowed Tesla to produce very high voltages and observe how electrical energy behaved in different environments. The experiments eventually led to demonstrations where Tesla generated large electrical discharges and studied the properties of electromagnetic waves. These investigations played a role in the development of radio technology and other wireless communication systems. Although the fire destroyed valuable equipment, it did not eliminate Tesla's ideas. In some ways, rebuilding the laboratory gave him the opportunity to refine his designs and explore new experimental approaches. Tesla later established a new laboratory on East Houston Street in New York. In this new facility, he continued his research into high-frequency electricity, resonance, and wireless energy transmission. Many of the experiments conducted in the rebuilt laboratory became some of the most famous demonstrations of Tesla's work. Visitors and investors were invited to observe the behavior of electrical discharges produced by Tesla's equipment. These demonstrations helped illustrate how electrical energy could be manipulated through carefully designed circuits. The fire also highlighted how fragile scientific progress can be. Research often depends on physical equipment, written documentation, and carefully recorded observations. When those elements are lost, years of work can disappear quickly. For Tesla, the destruction of the laboratory was not just a financial loss. It represented the loss of detailed experimental history that had guided his research. However, the incident also demonstrated Tesla's persistence. Instead of abandoning his projects, he treated the event as a temporary interruption. He continued to develop electrical systems that would influence radio technology, wireless communication, and high-frequency electrical engineering. Over time, Tesla's later experiments built upon ideas that had originally been explored before the fire. The rebuilt laboratory allowed him to continue studying resonance and electromagnetic energy. These studies eventually led to some of his most widely known electrical demonstrations. Today, the fire at Tesla's laboratory is often remembered as one of the most dramatic moments in his career. but it is also a reminder that scientific progress is rarely a smooth path. Many important discoveries are made through repeated experimentation, setbacks, and rebuilding. Even when physical equipment is lost, the underlying ideas can continue to develop. Tesla's determination to rebuild his research environment shows how strongly he believed in the importance of his work. He continued exploring the behavior of electricity because he believed those experiments could reveal new ways to understand energy and communication, and many of the principles he studied remain part of modern electrical engineering. The story of the laboratory fire illustrates an important lesson about innovation. Progress does not always move in a straight line. Experiments fail, equipment breaks, and sometimes entire research facilities are lost, but when the ideas behind the experiments are strong, researchers can rebuild and continue the work. Tesla's career offers many examples of persistence in the face of obstacles. The fire that destroyed his laboratory could have ended years of research. Instead, it became a turning point that pushed Tesla to rebuild and continue exploring electrical phenomena. If you found this story interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. New videos explore the history of electrical innovation, the experiments behind important technologies, and the ideas that shaped modern energy systems. And if you want to explore how some of these historical electrical concepts connect to modern experimental setups, there is a useful reference in the description that outlines the main components people often examine when studying small generator systems and similar electrical projects.